Well, welcome. It's April. That's right. Yeah. Well, I wore my Huff shirt just to show you all to remember it's this coming weekend. In case you're not looking at my social media posts, which you should be, and you should be liking them. You know how this thing works, right? If you get likes, then it gets shown more places. So I think we usually get about 12 likes on these things. Okay. Well, let's see. First thing, who's been diving? Skipped right since the last meeting.
I wasn't here in the last meeting.
Since the last one you were here at. I mean, I can't keep up with what fucking you. This is on the honor system, okay? Now, if you have not been diving since you last attended, not the last meeting, but the last one you were there, that's the rule.
Okay, so
that was all your time. Sorry.
Yeah, so in February of 2025 it's the last time I attended this meeting, and since then I have been on a few diving trips. So let me spend about 15 minutes going over them all.
That's bullshit.
Oh, does that violate the rules?
Yeah, because you lied. You've been here much later than that.
Okay, so in late March, we went to Coralie on Banka Island, North Sulawesi. Spent a week there. That's right in between Bunikan and Limbe, and it's fantastic. That is a place I will go back to. I will go back there. Then we boarded the Aranui for a 10-day trip from went Sarong and then got off in Halmahera. So we did those two. It's the second time I've been to Raja. So I mean, it was cool. Melissa's garden was as good as it always is, you know. And then after that, we spent another week in Tulamen. We stayed at Alam Batu, and that's what I was just talking with David about, because he's the one who actually encouraged us all to go out there, and so I blame him for this whole thing.
That'll teach you.
And I will say the black sand there. I mean, he's totally right. I mean, black sand and the animals that are there. I mean, that is a unique environment, and I mean, it's different than most of the rest. It's different. There is muck, but it's a different. I mean, kind of different muck. Yeah. So that was probably about I think it was an entire month in Indonesia. So there you go.
Let me ask you. They were pitching. We heard these guys give their pitch at DEMA, and their big pitch was that it's like all inclusive, but not just all inclusive food and diving and stuff like that. It was also supposed to be all inclusive for excursions and stuff like that. So you could just like sign up for something and say, I'm not diving today, I'm going on an excursion, no extra charge. Yeah. Yeah. Was that the way it worked, or?
So yeah. So my wife, for speaking about the all inclusive, my wife is particularly enamored because the massages were all included. And you could spend the entire day there if you wanted. It didn't matter. You just have to make a reservation. Okay, so she's like, I'm in seventh heaven. Yeah, it's like, who cares about that muck crap? I mean,
that too, you know.
So no, the excursions, there is a standard list of excursions that are included. Now, if you wanted to hike up to that, 10,000-foot volcano, okay, well, that might be extra.
Yeah. No, they said that. They said, or like if you're going down to Nusa Penida or something, that's also.
I have a question for you. When we were on the Indo-Siren and we got over by Halmahera, remember the suicide dives we had over there?
Yeah. Okay. So interesting you should say about that, because we were there in a full moon as well.
Okay.
And my wife, you could tell visible tremors. She was like nervous.
Yeah.
I will say that the Aranui folks went to extra lengths to check out their dive locations. And if there was too much current, they simply abandoned the whole thing and they just went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so we had some current, but never as much as you're talking about on the Siren.
Yeah. There were times when I usually have pretty good leg power, but my dive guide was pulling me along just to get me back to the boat.
Well, that's,
There you go.
my experience is that's standard procedure, should be standard procedure.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, because some of those currents,
Yeah,
those full moon currents through there,
absolutely.
they're
Yeah, no, you go out on the
I mean-
tender and they always jump in and look at the current because they say, oh, it's not supposed to be, but then sometimes it is. So, yeah. Anyway,
And
The Aranui is quite a boat.
I mean, of course, you're gonna pay we all know, you're gonna pay an extra $1,000 over and above any other reasonable price just to be on that damn boat. Okay, so that's my opinion of the whole thing, but they do take extra care on situations like that.
but they have antiques.
They have to, and yes, and they turn off
Okay,
all the power at 10 o'clock at night.
No,
Yes, they do.
not when I was on
Your
it.
batteries will not charge in the main room overnight. I know this for a fact.
Oh, well, they probably don't allow batteries to be charged, but they had electricity all night long when we were there.
I'm sure they
I
do.
mean, okay,
And they don't burn boats up.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
all right. Well, that was real. Thank you, Scott. We learned a lot there. Henry, you got no?
Oh, mine's nothing compared to that. I just spent a week at Cocoa View.
Okay.
So yeah, it's good. Same as the reefs are coming back. They got hit, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. They had over 90 degrees. One of the guys said it got all the way up to 100 for like a whole month.
Wow.
Water?
Water, and all the hard coral died, just like it did down in Bonaire. But the reefs are coming back and starting to grow back. There's a lot of algae there, but
Mm-hmm.
when you got out on the outer walls, if you got down 50, 60 feet and below, it started looking a lot better. Okay.
Okay. Was there anybody on the screen that's been diving who wants to speak? No. Okay.
I'm pretty sure Brian has been in the muffle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about to crank up here with spring coming in. So, okay, that's great. Frank, you got anything for us tonight?
The only thing is a reminder, the scholarship program is running at this time. Anyone in HUPS, their family or their grandkids are eligible for that program. And it is a $500 scholarship. Thank you.
Okay. I don't see any of our other officers here, so we'll go on then. We got some old business to take care of here. I wasn't at the meeting, the TGCC meeting, but and apparently Justin Wallace missed it as well because there's a plaque for you for advanced winning. Yeah.
Just a second.
Congratulations. Yeah. He's the official photographer here.
There we go. Okay, let's see.
Want to make sure
You want a parrot in the background? That looks good. Oh, he's gonna unwrap everything.
We'll make sure it's a real thing. Put on your mantle, people.
All right, hold it up. The right way?
That's for what? Advanced photographer.
Advance, yeah.
All right. Congratulations, young man.
How did that happen?
I don't know. All right, go from novice to advance.
Were you paying the judge?
I don't know.
I was gonna say
I trained months to get him in the lead. I'll tell you that.
maybe some coupons for
Yeah.
discount coupons.
Anybody else
Oh,
here?
yes.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Take home. And we have one other. Apparently Dennis won a video contest. I can't remember that far back, so.
Am I gonna have to unwrap the whole damn thing?
No, not unless you're extremely
There you go.
Put it down.
type A.
Type A.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Got it presented at the banquet. What do you
Oh, you
do?
did?
Yeah.
Did I?
You were at the banquet. You just carried all the other
I-
trophies out.
Yeah. The problem is, it's okay, that's okay. I
Sit in a row, sit in a row.
I'll turn it around, okay.
There you
I,
go.
oh,
They did it twice.
This is-
Even great.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's it. Ready?
That's
Move the
it.
Piece of paper.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Here we
You
go.
know, on the screen.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Okay. Here's the roaming mic. Okay. Yes, please do. I was getting to you, and so.
All right, I just wanted to say about the, a little bit of Huff business, which, as we all know, is this weekend. We're all, almost ready for it. But please, if you know of any students who would like tickets, elementary, high school, college, scuba certification students, we have free tickets for you. We have about 75 tickets that we can give away. So we have a lot of tickets, but we're having a bit of difficulty getting in touch with student groups and getting them to respond. Please help us out with that. We would really love to give these away to people. And I know there are people who would like to have them and would use them. The other thing is, the rest of you, if you haven't already gotten your tickets for the Huff, please go ahead and do that so we can get a better idea of how much food we need to order for the reception. That would be really helpful. Thank you.
When is it we're supposed to show up on Saturday?
I'll send everybody an email about that once again, but 1
Yeah, let me finish up on the,
o'clock on Saturday and Sunday.
yeah, so let me finish up. To get these tickets, it's a little bit of bureaucracy, but I'm not going to try to tell you the details. Go on Facebook. There's a post on there just in the last day or two about what you need to do. Basically, you got to send an email to Betsy that has the name, phone number, affiliation, and email address of the student, because we have to turn that into the match theater, and then they will issue the ticket to the student. They don't pay anything. They're free.
No,
Student tickets, student
We
tickets.
pay, we pay it.
Yeah, we have to pay the processing fee, but it doesn't cost them anything. Oh, so regular tickets, yeah. I mean, I assume we're all big boys and girls. We can go to Match and get one the old-fashioned way, just order it online. But this one, it has to come to her, and then she sends it to Match. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah.
So I do have a question exactly about what you just said. I mean, I know we're all big boys and girls. They do have a ticket window there. You can go buy a ticket, right?
They do.
Okay. And do they have this service fee?
Yes.
So you're going to pay that $5 per ticket, whether you go to the window or do it online?
Well, first of all, if you buy a package, it's $5 per purchase, right? And not per ticket. So in other words, if you buy everything together, buy like a whale shark package, that would just be. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, my basic question was, yes, in person, you still get nailed with that $5 fee.
Yeah, it's what they charge for handling all the book. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you guys don't see.
Yeah.
There's cooking going on there with, ticket reports and all of this stuff. So they have to.
Keeps their doors open.
Yeah, it keeps their. It's a fee.
Understood. So basically that's their fee, and then the rest of the ticket price goes to HUPS.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Let's see. What am I missing here?
I have an announcement.
Oh, yeah. The gadget of the month is still
Oh, do we have a
hanging
gadget?
out there. I don't know if we do or not, but we'll let the suspense build. What do you got, Dennis?
Well, I just, it's on a sad note, I got called from Javon yesterday that Pee Wee has passed away.
Yeah.
And so I know it's quite a shock to everyone, and especially to Javon and everybody that knew and loved him. So, I mean, our wishes and thoughts are going back out to Javon and Pee Wee's family and everybody that knew him.
Definitely. Yeah, I was going to mention that, but you beat me to the punch, so thank you. Just on the Huff, we're in that last few days of the flurry right now. It's the time when people actually move and decide what they're going to be doing this weekend. So it's not the time to just kind of relax. So please keep checking the HUPS webpage if you haven't done it already. Like the posts that we make, whether you like them or not, but like them anyway. Share it if you've got friends on Facebook, because all of that stuff counts to how much time it gets put back out on Facebook for other people to see. So we're trying to whip it up again this year. Ticket sales are going okay. There's not a lot of people, but a fair bit of money. So we'll hope we sell some more tickets in the next few days.
Going to be on Craig, Justin and I are going to be on the Houston Life TV show Wednesday at 1 o'clock. If you would like to tune in to see us.
Channel 2.
Channel 2, KPRC, 1 o'clock Wednesday.
You get to be second banana to Justin, huh?
Yeah.
No, we're the parents minding.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah.
Now, Justin, we talked about this. We're gonna have to talk to your mama, you know. But she's in Trinidad. She'll come, don't worry.
You know that over today too.
Very good. Well, that's pretty much what I've got for today. Are we ready for the program or?
Yeah, whatever you're ready.
Cool.
All right. So we greet people on Zoom land. Who we got? We got iPhone. Hey, Brian, also known as Brian. We have Emma. I don't know who Emma is. She sounds pretty. It's my girlfriend. Yeah, I think she's multitasking if I know her well. Kramer and Byron. So I'll start with Byron. So, like all good relationships in underwater photography, it starts with diving, right? And it always starts on land at a dock. And there's always a staring contest to look at other people's gear. And it so happened on this dock in Cozumel, I saw a Nikon D850 in a full Nauticam housing with Inon Z330 strobes. And I'm thinking, mine's on the boat. Whose own is this? So Byron had the exact same setup as I did. And I was like, I need to know who the owner of this boat, of this rig is. And then he pops up and he's like, well, what are you shooting? And I was like, exactly that. And we just had the loudest laugh at that dock site. We almost missed the boat. And we've been buddies since then. 2-hour rabbit hole conversations about underwater photography. Anyway, Byron is a professional photographer. I'll let him talk about his life another day. But recently, he and I were talking more about underwater photography and some of the things that he's doing with DWP, which Kramer will talk about. And recently, in one of the trips, he produced a magnificent film. And I said, I need to know Kramer. This film and Kramer, you guys need to come to HUPS. So here we are. All started with my rig's better than yours, but it's the same. It's exactly the same. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, so I will introduce Kramer after the film. So we all are interested in seeing some stuff before we start hearing people go on and about. So we're going to run this 5-minute and 5-second film here. Thanks again, Byron, for extending it. Then I'll take it from there.
My name is Kramer Wimberley. I am the lead instructor for an organization called Diving with a Purpose, and I'm the program developer for the collective approach for restoring our ecosystems, which is the CARES program. As a diver of some 40 years, I've been diving and I've seen what the decline of our coral ecosystem has been, and recognizing that I live my life in the ocean. CARES is a program that teaches citizen science to both youth and adults about attempting to restore our coral ecosystem, which was damaged by human impact over the course of generations. CARES, the collective approach for restoring our ecosystems, prides itself on community education.
We're here to learn how to document and save our coral reef ecosystem. Our first dive is about us learning how to get comfortable in the water.
So we teach our participants about the harmful impact humans have had on our coral reef ecosystem.
Stony corals will secrete a harder outer skeleton made out of calcium carbonate. Important to remember what that skeleton is made out of. It's calcium carbonate. Very similar to the composition of shells.
I am trying to get every living being on the planet to understand the importance of what it is that we're doing. So the more people that know about the program, the more people are informed about the damage that we're doing and what we're doing to try and correct for it. I developed this program to attempt to correct for all of the damage that we've been doing. So we teach our participants how to document the fish, invertebrates, and substrate species to determine how healthy the reef is.
And he's been pointing out just about everything in the water. Okay? I'm ready, right, to start grooming him to be a CARES assistant soon. Okay? That's how much I think of this young man, who is now 14 years old. Happy birthday.
It is vitally important that we engage youth because they're the ones who are going to have to fix what it is that we destroyed. There are organizations whose function is to grow coral in a nursery either on land or in the water. Right? And then outplant those corals out onto the reef in order to attempt to shock the reef back into health by repopulating those hard coral species that we have destroyed and that have been lost. So we work with a number of organizations, the Coral Restoration Foundation, Moat Marine Lab, Reef Renewal, anyone who's working responsibly to attempt to address the loss of hard corals. We partner with in order to help make that happen. All of the vast majority of the youth in the program continue to return year after year because they're learning more and more every year that they come. Looking from a different perspective is something that I believe is going to help us advance the program and advance solving the problem. When I take a youth and educate them about the CARES program, it's like taking a piece of coral and planting it in the ocean. The kids provide me with hope. Right? When I see a kid perfect their buoyancy, when I see a kid asking questions about the ocean, when I see a kid asking about how it is that they can do something to fix the problem, I know that this program will live beyond me.
I know some of you got emotional. I can hear some sniffling in the background. Unless it was a cold or allergies. I know you got emotional. Well done, Byron. I'd seen it on the big screen. Well done, mate. So you can see why it got my attention, right? You can see why it got my attention. Not just because I noticed the TG6 or TG7 camera, right? Because we're all camera nerds. We're going to look at the cameras. But this is like a new avenue for us in underwater photography. For me, especially, it got my eyes like, wow, because as much as we shoot critters, we're not actually looking at them in that same spot the next time we go. The corals are still there. That substrate's still there. And it's just, it spoke to me a lot. Byron, tell me how much fun it was putting that together, mate.
It was a blast. First of all, I want to say thank you for having us here tonight and being able to share some of the things that are going on around, as Kramer will say, his ocean. And it was a lot of fun. We had when you're working with youth and they get it and they're engaged and they're just gung ho about everything, it's just tremendous. It's like just you don't mind sharing what's going on with you and helping them because you know they're in the next generation, you know. So it was a lot of fun.
And I would say, if you ever want an underwater photographer to do a photo shoot of people, he's the best I know. He likes shooting people, which none of us really like to do, right? If you want people to get out of our way, he's really good at that. So well done capturing the moods of people and the actions of people actually doing work and putting it together. Because I got that sense of you guys were not just there to dive, you were working, you were there on a mission. So that was really well done. I would say it's PBS quality, but I think you're better than that, mate. I'll give you the BBC stuff, yeah? Keep pushing to Nat Geo and then call me. Kramer, welcome to the Houston Underwater Photographic Society. You and I had a really good chat before our meeting here today. I won't spoil some of the things that got me really excited, not just as an underwater photographer, but as a technology professional. So in my real world, I spent a lot of time today with the new technology two-letter acronym. Anybody want to guess what it is? There you go. I literally have things doing things for me. And in my conversation before this meeting with Kramer, we actually almost went down the rabbit hole about photogrammy and AI. So that's something maybe in the future we'll bring to the table. Hopefully I get out with the DWP team and get my feet wet with some photogrammy. But anyway, Kramer, thanks again for doing this today. Over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Justin. Right. I appreciate the invitation, right, and the ability to speak to the group. I would be remiss if I did not say again, thank you, Byron, for coming to Youth Cares to the program and doing the documenting and creating that amazing piece of art. You actually, I tell you how good Byron is. He actually made me look good. So I don't know what to share because I think Byron's piece pretty much encapsulated what it is that I'm always trying to communicate to people. My mission in life now is that of attempting to educate the world about restoring the coral reef ecosystem. The vast majority of people are completely unaware of how important our oceans and our coral reefs are. The coral reef ecosystem represents less than 1% of the entire ocean floor. If you think in terms of the globe, all of the coral reefs around the globe, if you put them together, would barely make up about the size of the state of Colorado. Right? But that coral reef is responsible for protecting over 90,000 miles of coastline around the globe, right, from the ravages of storm energy. The devastating storm that took place in the Caribbean that decimated portions of Jamaica last year. The coral reefs, when they are healthy, diffuse over 95% of all of that storm energy. So the devastating impact is relatively about 5% of what the island took. And as the coral reefs decline, then our coastlines are going to start receiving more and more of that storm energy. You already know how devastating 5% is. Imagine the loss of more of our coral reef and bumping that 5% up to 10%. That's just one of the things that our coral reef ecosystem does. It's responsible for over 6,000 species of fish and invertebrates, the things that you put on your plate to eat. Absent the coral reef, we lose all of those organisms. The ocean itself is responsible for producing over 70% of the oxygen that we breathe or consume on this planet. You ask the average person, where does oxygen come from? And everyone can say trees, and trees are a source of oxygen. They provide, trees, bushes, and plants provide about 25% of the oxygen that exists on the planet. The remainder of it is produced in the ocean. That place where we're dumping 7 million tons of plastics and garbage on an annual basis. We're responsible for pumping 3.6 million pounds of CO2 into our atmosphere every second of every day. Human beings as a species, right, are changing the chemistry of the ocean. Ocean acidification is a direct result of us pumping CO2 into the atmosphere. What we're doing is we're poisoning the ocean that provides us with life, and it's not sustainable. But people don't realize that because a lot of people don't live in or near the ocean. Some people have never seen an ocean, so they don't feel connected to it. Our mission, the CARES mission, is to explain to everyone that whether you see or near any body of water, we're all connected to it because we all require oxygen to breathe. So the CARES program is designed to educate people about the importance of a healthy coral reef ecosystem. It's designed to aid in removing plastics and garbage from the ocean and engage in ocean healing to try and restore the ocean from all of the damage that we've been doing. And I do that primarily with youth. I do this with youth and adults, but primarily with youth because they're the ones that are going to solve the problems that we created for them. Right? So that is the CARES program. That is the initiative. And I'm sorry, Byron, you're not aware of this as of yet, right? But I will tell you with everyone else that the CARES program operates in Florida. It operates in Honduras. It operates in Barbados, and it operates in Panama. Right? But we are shifting our focus from individual nodes where we're creating cohorts of divers and youth to do this work to a Caribbean Basin Reef Initiative. So we're not looking in individual locations anymore. We're looking at the entirety of the Caribbean and attempting to work on restoring it as one entire organism. And that means we need 1,000 Byrons to be able to tell the story, to educate people about what it is that we're attempting to do and why it is that it's so important. So that's my 2 cents.
Kramer, you mind if I ask some questions?
Absolutely.
Let me go on. How do youth or adults get involved in the CARES program? What is the entry pathway to the program?
We try to anyone who's a certified diver is welcome to apply to work in the program. You have to be a certified diver with a particular number of dives, so we know that your buoyancy is good so that you're not accidentally destroying what it is that we're trying to preserve.
right? Beyond that, it's all about you identifying where you want to engage to do our mission work. Our youth, we pull from a host of different youth-based organizations and schools. So anyone who's interested, we have youth from the Caribbean, from St. Croix, St. Thomas, Honduras, youth from across the U.S. who apply to participate in our youth-based program. Usually the application process happens around November, December. We make our selection by January, and the youth weeks are typically 2 to 3 weeks in the summer, usually in July.
2 to 3 weeks. That's quite intensive work there. What's a
Well,
typical day like?
Um, our youth program falls under the umbrella of Diving with a Purpose. We've operated a youth maritime survey archaeology program for the last 16 years. Right, where we put youth in the water and teach them how to document historically significant shipwrecks. Right? The CARES program has come into its fullness over the course of the last 10 years. So what typically 1 week is the CARES program and another week is the archaeology program. And then some years we do a special week where we do some additional technical stuff. Right? But once the youth come to the program, a typical day in the program is getting up in the morning about 6:30. We go to breakfast, and then we get out on the boat, and they engage in coral. Well, for the CARES program, they're engaging in coral ecosystem monitoring. So they do fish surveys, all of the key indicator fish species for that particular region. That's 2 dives doing fish survey. We come back in, we have lunch, we have class, lectures, presentations, dinner, and some breakout sessions in the evening. By then, it's about 10 o'clock and they're going to bed. We get up in the morning, we do the same thing all over again. So the first day's diving is fish survey. The second day's diving is invertebrate survey. The third day's diving is substrate or benthic characterization. The fourth day's diving is roving coral. And then the fifth day is where we get into photogrammetry. And for the archaeological program, it runs on a similar track, just with documenting, learning how to identify, partition, and document historically significant shipwrecks or artifacts. So they learn how to do in situ drawing, which is drawing items in place, and trilateration mapping. Right, and we're building in photogrammetry into the archaeological program as well.
Yeah, so before I even get to that point, because that's one of my other questions, you know, as a team and as a society of underwater photographers, we typically go after animate objects, right? There'll be the odd beautiful coral reef shot, you know, flora and fauna based on the photographer's preference. So, in light of, you know, again, me discovering you guys and through Byron, it gave me a different perspective of photography in terms of collecting data, right? And, you know, using maybe that imagery to look at impacts, positive and negative. Tell me, like, you know, photogrammetry has been around for a while, but I don't know if you guys have actually started using it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, or you want to get into it. But I'm also sure you have some sort of photography or video data that you can look at a reef system, what it was 2 years ago prior to a storm, or if the region wasn't impacted by a storm. So just to kind of tease the underwater photographers in your room, tell us about a bit of like that data collection aspect before we talk about that photogramming.
Okay. I heard a lot in your question, so I'm going to try and tease some of that out.
That's what you get with me.
Yeah, right. For me, the coral reef ecosystem is a living organism in and of itself, right? There was a time when I did not see it that way, but every organism in the ocean interacts or is responsible for something. Right? I never saw corals as being animals before, right? And until I started studying and researching, realizing that they're responsible for creating the structure of the reef. They actually build it. Right? But for having reef structure, the beautiful fish that you like to take pictures of would not exist because they live in an almost symbiotic relationship. We in marine science have been working for a number of years on attempting to document or map, right, the ocean floor. Right? We're attempting to map for a number of different reasons. Right? But part of the work for which CARES is engaged is because we're trying to restore hard corals to the reef. Right? We're using artificial intelligence. We're actually in the process of teaching AI how to identify coral species. And once they can identify coral species, then they can aid us in determining where those coral species are and where they used to be. Because even dead coral have structure until such time as it collapses. So by using science and technology, we can plan for where to do our outplanting to attempt to restore the reef also. So that's part of the beauty of artificial intelligence as a tool, right? Is that it will aid us in attempting to restore some of the necessary boulder corals to the reef.
You have a question, Dennis? Go for it.
Question. Yeah, this is Dennis Davenport. I have a quick question about artificial intelligence. Something that's very interesting to me. I was first involved with it probably 20 years ago when I was doing some analytical work and developing training sets. The training sets that you use to identify coral, those are the photographs, is that right?
Yes.
And do you need a wide variety of the same species, or will one photograph be enough to be able to correctly identify something?
Because even though we've been engaged, I'm sorry, let me take a step back, right? I am not a marine biologist. I am not an expert in photogrammetry. I am a diver of some 40 years, right? And I have some experience in the field, right? So let me preface that before I continue. Right? Can you ask me your question again?
Yeah, I just was curious as to how accurate the photogrammic and the training set is based on photographs of coral and then tagging that to the correct probably taxonomy for it, the
Right.
names, the correct names, as well as maybe the popular names. And those, and then when you see a photograph of a reef and you plug it into the AI system, it should go in there and look at the training set and be able to identify what that particular species is, or what all the different species, perhaps if you have multiple ones in a single photograph.
Yes.
Is that part of it?
Yes, that's it. right? But we're still in the process of teaching AI what the species are. So they need copious photos, right, to be able to learn, so that when you're sending a robot or a camera in absent a person, that it knows this is Pseudodiploris strigosa or Pseudodiploris clivosa or Siderastria siderea. Right? Once you've plugged enough of the photos in and you taught the artificial intelligence what the coral is, it makes it easier and easier for the job to be done.
What you just said kind of triggered something in my mind here, is that you're talking about robots with cameras being able to go down to photograph areas. I would assume that you could probably program these to periodically repeat the pathway, and that you could track to see growth or decimation of reef based on the results that you get from that.
That's the goal. Right now, we're doing it with divers and human power. So we're doing survey swaths of the reef, right? And our data sets, we do a 20-meter by 5-meter section for each of our photogrammetry data sets, and we end up capturing between 2,000 and 3,000 images, right, for that one data set.
We got a question in Zoom land from PJ. So you got your hand up, PJ.
Thank you so much for being here, Kramer.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned St. Croix, and I am going to be going there at the last week in May. And if there is any way that you can connect me with the people that are working on the project already down there, I would love to participate. I would love to help with the children, because they are the future. And we definitely want to help mentor them.
Okay. PJ, currently we're receiving youth from St. Croix and St. Thomas, right? We're not operating the program there right now. I was doing work in St. Croix back in 2014, 2015, but because I don't have enough PJs as of yet, right? I have to limit the areas where we're operating, and we can be the most effective while we're attempting to train youth and adults to be the next fully integrated team. Right? So the goal is for me to say, PJ, I need you to take your team and go to Barbados and do this data set at these coordinates, right? And then you and 8 to 10 of your people go, right, once being trained, right, and do the work and collect the data and upload it to the international database.
But if you have young divers in St. Croix living there,
yes,
then maybe I can generate some energy down there while I'm there anyway.
Okay, I can put you in contact with the gentleman who runs a youth program out of St. Croix and St. Thomas.
Perfect.
All right.
Kramer,
can
PJ is also a magician at night.
Can someone make sure that PJ gets my email so that we can maintain?
I got it.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah. I literally spoke to her today. It's the second time I'm seeing her. I'm talking to her.
What an exciting project you're doing. I think it's so necessary. We got to rebuild it. We got to rebuild it.
Yes, right. As long as the whole idea is to get people to understand that. I am just one person, right? But it's my mission to speak to 8 billion people on the planet and get them to understand. Right? It's just going to take me a while, which is why I need you guys to be able to tell the story. And Byron, right, has done such a phenomenal job at sharing it with you all.
Well, I wish you all the success and continuation of this awesome project.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna throw another one at you, Kramer, on this.
Yes,
You
sir.
has another question because this really interests me for the future. Is there another organization with parallel and similar interests that is using the technology from photography, underwater photography, not necessarily using AI, but producing the results that you want in another part of another ocean? So, do you have pairs maybe in Southeast Asia or northeast coast of Australia, you know, that are doing something similar?
There are a host of organizations that are doing phenomenal work. Right? There are none that I have seen as of yet that have the CARES protocol, which is a collective approach, doing the community outreach education, doing the debris removal, doing the ocean healing, right? And doing the photogrammetry work. A lot there. We partner with organizations who do ocean healing all over the place.
Right.
Who do
Coral
phenomenal
restoration.
coral restoration, reef
Yep.
renewal, right? Moat Marine Lab, all of them.
Yep.
Right? But they are focused in on specifically the ocean healing part, right?
Yep.
And that is essential, right? But most organizations are myopic in their approach. Right? And there have been a couple of instances where I've began to engage with a couple of universities on projects that they were interested in doing because we have a team of um, ocean advocates as future scientists. And they're like, can you teach your group how to do this data collection set for us? I said, absolutely, right? My kids can do anything. If you provide me with the material, we can train them to do that. But why? Right? You're looking at this particular fish that was a part of your research project to get your doctoral thesis, but that fish is not a key indicator of reef health. And while it may be beautiful, right, its absence on the reef is not going to determine the life of the reef. So I would ask that you look at including some additional fish in your data sets because there are important fish that we need to collect data on. There are important invertebrates that we need to collect data on. There are important corals or substrates that we need to collect information on. So lots of organizations are doing phenomenal work. It's just they're in a bubble and we're not talking to one another or understanding where everyone needs to be to working, moving in the same direction.
It's Craig Beasley here. Nice talk. I'm enjoying it. How are you funded? Just right to the heart of the matter.
I'm sorry. Right. I'm funded.
He's the president. He's the president of the organization of the Photographic Society, by the way. So,
through retirement funds and donations. Right. I apply for grants all year long to try to offset the cost of youth attending the program. I am trying to communicate with corporations that are involved or that benefit from a healthy coral reef ecosystem, travel and tourism, right, to get them to understand that investing in the coral reef for the Hilton, say, is essential because people are coming to see the beautiful coral reefs. So you need to invest money into making sure that the reef is healthy, and my team can help to restore those reefs for you. So that's an avenue that we've been attempting to chase, but you have to be invited to have those presentations. I'm doing the same thing with the pharmaceutical industry because over 60% of cutting edge medicines is actually coming from the coral reef ecosystem, right? So it's essential that you have a coral reef if you want to do the research, but we have yet to be able to get in the door to be able to make that pitch. So small value donors, people who've been through the program who've seen the work, and they work at companies that do profit sharing, right? If you donate $500 to this organization, they'll match it and then send it in, those kinds of things.
So I was wondering in particular, though, about the students in the summer. I mean, do they have to bring their own funds, or do you have a slush fund to,
slush
attract them?
These are wonderful words, right? No, I fundraise year round, right? Begging people and organizations and grants to fund for the youth. My program this summer is in Honduras. Right? Last summer in Honduras, the program was $28,000, and each of the participants were required to come up with $200, and I spent the rest of the year fundraising in order to offset that cost.
Oh, that's a really nice way to do it. I think, $200, they're serious then, but you can't expect students, to be having a vacation in Honduras,
Right.
Yeah, it sounds about like most nonprofits. I think, you're always out looking for money. I was hoping you had a sugar daddy somewhere that,
Sugar?
Are you volunteering? Are you volunteering?
Are you volunteering, Sugar?
Are you volunteering?
Figuratively, of course.
Yeah. Actually, what I'm working on right now is a new type of Adopt a Coral program. Because of artificial intelligence and because of photogrammetry, right? The image that you see behind you is Eustamilia fastigiata, which is a flowering cup coral, right? That exists in the Caribbean, and we are in the process of generating 3D models of the coral, right? And identifying the genus and the species, and the dimensions of the coral, and identifying through GPS coordinates the location of the coral, and the water temperature around the coral to provide that as a certificate, an adoption certificate for anyone who wants to adopt a portion of the reef. And then we go back on an annual basis and update the data on the health of those individual corals that people have adopted. So that is a new look at the Adopt a Coral, right? Because in previous years, organizations would just give you a little piece of paper and say, here, thank you for adopting this coral, with no knowledge of what the coral is or how it is that it's doing. But with the aid of photogrammetry and artificial intelligence, right? I have a tech guy in Tennessee, right, who can create a 3D model from the data that we've collected, and you can have the actual a 3D model of the coral that you adopted on your phone or on your computer, so you can see it instead of just a picture, right? Cool. And it gives you like I said, the water temperature at the time of the survey was taken, the dimensions of the coral, so that next year when we go back and do another data set, you can tell, is my coral the same? Is it doing better? Is it doing worse? What is or is not impacting it, right? So that you have a vested interest in the coral that you've adopted, and you can track it over time.
Anybody else? I'm gonna go again.
Yes, sir.
So my hamster wheels are going really quickly here. So give me an example of because you mentioned Honduras. I'm gonna assume it's Roatan that you go to, or Bay Islands or wherever. Give me an example of a reef system that is frequented by divers that your CARES program frequents. And I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm pretty certain in this room here, somebody has been there and has shot it several times, maybe a few years ago. And it'll be interesting to see in that my crowdsourcing mentality, right? I'm kind of gestating in my head right now. If we have archive data, we have archive photos that were taken by accident. It's almost like the coral reef was the photobomb of the fish. Right? Right? You know, and I think it's two-part for me. Let me just say this. I know that in my archive of photos, which is not many years, 10, 11 years, 2015, I hardly ever go there to look for anything because my trajectory of skill has gone to a certain point. I've only stayed in the last year or two, and that's kind of how it moves. But I'm sure there's something in there that might be of interest to you, coral nerds, that, as I say, was in the background. So back to the first question. Give us an area, a reef, a common reef, you know, I've dove Barbados, wherever. Let's see if maybe we can go pull something out of the archive within the group of us here.
Last year, the youth program was in Roatan. The previous 3 years, we did the smaller island of Guanaja in Honduras. Right? This year, we're going to be in Utila.
Mosquito Land.
Our adult program operates in Barbados, right? And we do survey work in conjunction with, well, in and near Carlisle Bay, right? Because it's the marine protected area.
That's with Andre Lewis, I would imagine.
Andre Miller.
That's Andre Miller, sorry. That's my guy. He's my guy.
Right. A marine biologist, Andre Miller.
He is a marine biologist, and
his
yeah,
son
and he has
is
the
a
same
marine
thing in Grenada.
biologist, right?
Yep, his son is a marine biologist. Yeah, correct. He's my guy.
One of his other staff is marine biologists, so they get the idea of a healthy coral reef ecosystem. He was responsible for creating the marine protected area that started the Carlisle Bay, right? So we do a lot of work with Andre. We're in the Florida Keys. We've been all over the Florida Keys, but currently we're working between Key Largo and Isla Morada. We're partnering with Moat Marine Lab, and there's a dive site called Hens and Chickens that has not been part of an ongoing reef survey site. But I was able to convince the dive operator and Moat to allow us to begin surveying work at the Hens and Chicken site. So we'll be doing our first data set. So we'll have a baseline record of the reef there. So we'll be doing our data sets and photogrammetry there for the next several years. And we're in Portobello in Panama, and in Coiba.
I love Coiba. I think you and I talked before you went to go to Coiba.
So we do most of our survey work in Portobello because Coiba is on the Pacific side, and the reef system there is completely different. That's really a big animal kind of venture. So those are once I have enough teams going, our next destination is going to be in Jamaica. Right. Actually, this year is the first year my program started around 2012, 2014. One of the youth that was in my program, right, is now a civil engineering PhD in water quality testing. Right? And I was just on a Zoom call with her before I came on here. And two of the participants who are also youth are now dive instructors, and they're going to be leading my youth program in Utila this July.
See, PJ has a hand up. But PJ.
Yes.
There I am. Hi again. I want to suggest that you get your younger generation coming up to apply for grants and scholarships through the Women Divers Hall of Fame. That is open right now, and it closes, I think, sometime in October, maybe the end of September. And
October.
yeah, and so you're familiar with it.
Yes.
Every one of them, especially the young lady you were just talking about, they all need to be applying for grants and scholarships through the Women Divers Hall of Fame. They've given away through those programs over $1 million since the year 2000. And it's growing every year.
That's wonderful. Thankfully, one of my young people from St. Croix, Malaya, who is now at the University of Hawaii doing a marine biology degree, right, was awarded.
Yes, she was in the mentoring session. I met her online the other night. That's great.
Yes.
That's great. But all the rest of them now need to follow in her footsteps and get the next thing moving for them. It's an amazing program.
Okay.
Awesome.
This is
Thank
awesome.
you.
Good generation of thoughts and questions. Anything else in your room? No? Zoom land? I don't know about you guys, but this was stimulating.
Thank you so much.
This was stimulating, Kramer. Thanks for this, mate. Thanks, Byron.
Absolutely.
So, we have a catch up coming up soon, Kramer. I'll get you PJ's contact, start syncing up there. We'll talk about some dive sites, and I'll see if I can circle around into the HUPS underwater photography archive, and maybe we find a coral that was photobombing a fish and see what's what.
I'm always interested in photographs of corals from photographers because the photos that I take with my GoPro don't really do justice or quality.
That's why I have Byron, mate.
Yes.
I suggest we have a Google Ocean project instead of Google Earth or Google Maps.
There you go. Come on.
All you got to have is GPS coordinates and
some new Nauticam housings.
Yeah, Justin, since you brought that up, new Nauticam housings, I think my gear looks a little better than yours.
That's because you don't use it enough.
Yeah, well, it's called work smarter, not harder on your gear.
Did you send it to Shen? Did you get it to Shen as yet?
Oh, not yet, but I will.
All right, it'll definitely look better than mine if you're going to get it back from Shen, because mine definitely looks like it's been in a nuclear reactor.
just got 2 back from him.
You got back from Shen?
2 of them.
You see, my guy. Shen is my guy.
His and hers.
There you go. Bam. Man, this was great. So Byron, Kim, Kramer, please stick around for the photo competition. Again, see if Corals has photobombed some of the subjects at play this month. But I think this was great.
We'd love to.
I definitely see you guys coming back and giving us an update. And where's our resident Roatan person? Henry disappeared. We have one person who always in Roatan. I'm gonna go after him after. Okay, guys. Thank you again. Over to you, Martin.
Kramer, this is Craig one more time. Hey, look, I'm going to get your email and ping you later too, because I'm particularly interested in the 4D. That's what we call it in seismic, when you go back and shoot the same survey again and again to see what's changed. I'm particularly interested in that. We've had that happen a couple of times now. We've got film that we've got 7 or 8 years time lapse, and in one case,
Really?
yeah, and in one case, a gigantic cyclone went through in the intervening period. So it just absolutely devastated the reef. So anyway, we'll take it offline and we'll get in touch.
Absolutely.
Great stuff, guys. Great stuff.
Thank
All
you,
right.
thank you, everybody.
Over to you, Martin. You guys are welcome to stick around. Awesome. Well, that is a wrap. Next time we'll talk about HUPS. We'll be talking about the film festival the next time. Looking forward to that. And then we've got some interesting presenters coming up after that. Got Rifu to put me on to a photographer out of Indonesia. So yeah, it's good. All right. Thanks again to everybody in Zoom land. Get home safe. Be careful on the road.